back, friends. Gabriel Kevin here. Hope you're having a great day. So today we're going to have another installment in my music tutorials, and I use Studio One, so that's the DAW, D-A-W, digital audio workstation that I use, and that's what you see on your screen. And again, a lot of these concepts work with other DAWs, obviously. So even if you don't use Studio One, you might find something useful here, and then just apply it to your DAW. So let's get into this now. Okay, so today we're going to talk about event trimming and fades and how to group things and stuff like that. So it's basically you've recorded things in Studio One. They're called events. So each one of these things on the side here on the left. And if you look at my track tutorial, that pretty much goes into a lot of information on tracks and consoles and faders and all that stuff. But today we're just going to talk about trimming and fading. Fade away. Okay, so okay, he digresses. Here we go. We have tracks over here. We have events over here. So this is my song Wonderland. And these are some guitar parts that I added to the chorus. And I don't want to go too detail about why, but I could if you wanted me to. But let's just talk about trimming. Okay, so now in the beginning of this chorus, I have these two guys here. I'm going to put my shift key down and highlight this guy. And what they are is they're a power chord going into the chorus. So from a producing point of view, I heard the chorus and I thought, you know, it'd be really cool just like have a power chord at the beginning of each chorus. So it's like boom, and then the chorus starts. And even though this is a really pop song, I believe you can put some hard guitars in pop songs and it really accentuates things. I think Queen did that a lot. That's my opinion. That, you know, they were pop sounding songs, but you know, Brian May would put these kind of things in there that was really cool. I'm not comparing myself to Brian May or Queen, but it's just the same idea. So let's hear what these sound like soloed. I hit the, okay, we'll do that again. Now I have it a little bit to the right, and you may ask, why do you have two of them? And why do you have two of these? And why is everything duplicated? Because Gabriel is a duplication freak. No, actually, the reason why is when I do, and look at my recording tutorial, when I do anything with a mic'd amplifier, I use a Sennheiser mic and I use a SM57. So this is the Sennheiser mic on the amp, and this is the SM57 on the amp, because I like both sounds together and I keep them separate tracks so I can use one, use the other, or use both. So it gives you that combination of the two mics, which I like. Okay, so that's the reason why, and same down here. So now, okay, let's listen to that in the song just so you have the reference. And I'll start here, coming out of the intro. Hear that? I just think that's cool. Once I added it there, I can't have it without anymore. I have to hear it. So that's a little producing thing. So look at my producing tutorial if I didn't say that already. Okay, so now when I recorded this first one, I'm going to take the front of it, I'm going to pull it forward. And look at that mess. So obviously I didn't record it right at the moment that it occurred. I gave myself some space, put the cursor here for the record, hit record, got myself ready, and then went bing, you know, and I hit the power chord, or the power chord slide actually. So that's what, you know, same. It's going to be the same with this one here too, right? Because it happened at the exact same time. So that's the way it's going to look after I do the record. So you don't want this. You don't want this front stuff here, okay? Because it's just noise. Now, if I play it, let me solo both of them. If I play it, you can hear the sound of the amp of me not playing. I mean, the amp has noise, and especially when you have, you know, obviously when this was recorded, it was pretty loud. I lowered it here to mix it in. So you don't want this front stuff. So it's really easy in Studio One. You take it, highlight the event, grab the front, and pull it back and get rid of it. Now you could cut it, but it's still, I'm not sure why you would do that, because it's still non-destructive. So if I cut that, I can still pull it back out. So the other thing I want to remember here is this top thing up here called snap to grid, or in Studio One it's called toggle snap. And I like saying snap to grid, but they say toggle snap. So it's on. So if I take this one and I pull it back out forward, and let me do something here, because the toggle, the snap, will work with these notes here because I use bars instead of seconds or frames. So I'm going to put this here to, this will be a half note, that's a quarter note to an eighth note. Okay, so now this snapping is going to do it by eighth notes, see? So if I have the toggle snap on and I trim like this, it may not, I want to get that a little bit closer, it's going to cut off the front of it. Okay? And I pull it back, and I'm like, still, I want to get rid of that little, let's do something here. Let's make this a quarter note. Okay? And I come back here, and I do that. Oh, wait, that little spot there I want to get rid of. But every time I pull it, it's getting rid of the front of it. That's because you have toggle snap on or snap the grid on. So anytime I do a vent trimming, I always turn this off because there's no need to toggle snap. I can just visually see it. Now, see, it's freeform. And then I can just go right to where I want it to be, about right there. I always give it a little beginning part because there's probably a little bit of a noise you want to come in first. And I can do the same thing with this one. Okay, and here's another thing. So let's put this guy back out somewhere, and this guy back out somewhere. And let's just, now, I want to do both of them because I just recorded them. So do I have to do one and then the other? No. Highlight this one. Shift key. Now I'm using a Mac, okay? So I could use the shift key or the command key. I highlighted both of them. I grab either one of them, and they both go at the same time. Very efficient. Cool. And then I just put them where they're supposed to be. And that takes care of that. So that's cool. Now, one thing I want to point out, and we're going to come down here when we start talking about fades, is the way Studio One works. And let me just take these solos off. And you know you can do it right here, right? Okay. And if you have multiple ones, like these tail end fades here, just real quick in terms of the way Studio One works, if I highlight a track, and I want to highlight all four of these, and I put the shift key down, and I hit the bottom one, it's going to highlight all four tracks, and it highlights them down here in the console. Now let me unhighlight. Now, if I want to highlight, the tracks and events work differently when you highlight, is what I'm trying to point out. If I highlight the first one here, the event, and this event actually starts back here, so we'll just do that. If I highlight the first one and do the same thing and hold the shift key down, and I highlight the bottom one, oh, it doesn't highlight them all. I have to do each one individually. Okay? I think that's because when you're doing this, there's so much that can happen to an event that, this is my guess, that those personas want you to be able to really select the ones you really want. But how do you get around that? Easy. Just put your cursor anywhere, hold the left mouse button down, highlight this guy, and just drag down and highlight them all, and then it does it. So so you really get used to that. So when I want to highlight these, I don't do each individual one. You know, this is event highlighting, not the track highlighting. I'll just go like this real quick. Boom, done. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about fades. Right here, these are some guitar fills that I have in there, and we don't have to play them. I just want to show how fades work. So here, if I highlight this one, you'll say, Gabriel, why is there space up here? Why is, that's because I changed the volume using this button here. And look at my volume management tutorial. So you can use this to change the volume of an event. So I had done that already. I just wanted to point out why that's like that. That has nothing to do with the fade. That's a volume thing. The fade is here. Okay, so now fades are very easy to do. So when you highlight an event, now this little diamond, if I pull it back, there's no fade. And there's one in the front. So you can do a front fade. Okay, so here I'm going to put that, actually I'm going to undo it so it's aligned up with the other ones. Okay, so all these have a fade to them because I don't want it to like be so loud going into this chorus. So all you have to do is just pull it. You can pull it as far as you want. And then the front, if you want to fade in, you can do the same thing. And you can do both. You can fade in, fade out. And up here, that I actually, in the song right here, I actually do that because these are some fill parts that I have in the chorus from a producing point of view that I wanted to come in, but if it comes in too hard, you'll hear it, and you're hearing the vocal, and then you'll hear this boom coming in too hard. And so all you got to do is just fade it in a little bit, and and I'll show you. I'll play that, and you'll see why. But let's finish this here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this guy back, and I'm gonna put this guy back somewhere around where this was. Okay. What if I want to do all of them? Look, they all look the same. Did I do each one individually? Of course not. If you just do what I did before, highlight them, now you can do them all at once. Cool. The other thing is, if one of them is different than the other, and say this one's this way, so you got this whole different thing, okay, and you want to proportionally change them, meaning change them all at the same rate, but not move where their slopes begin. Highlight them all again, grab any one, I usually take the first one, and look, they'll all move, but they move proportionally. So say you want to have these kind of different fades for whatever reason, and you want to say, I just need a little bit more fade on all of them, and they'll all move proportionally. Same will happen in the front too. So cool stuff. I love the fade stuff in this. It's just so easy to do. Now, what else can we do with fades? We can shape the fade. Shape the fade. Here we go. So this guy here obviously has a linear fade. It's a line. Okay, so that's going to fade out in a linear way equally. So if I grab this, now let's just maybe pull this down and make it a little bigger so we can see. So if I grab this little box here, I can shape the fade. Look at that. It's pretty cool. You can shape it the other way too. Why would you want to do that? Well, because if the linear fade doesn't sound exactly right to you, and you want it to fade out a lot faster, pull it down. This will come here and boom, oops, I moved it. Boom, it'll fade out faster. If you pull it up higher, it'll fade out slower. And obviously, you don't do this stuff by visual, you do this stuff by your ear, but this is what you will see, and that's how you can do that. And again, you can take all of them, and you can do them all at once. Okay? And say this guy was like this, and this guy was like this, and the other two are linear, and you grab them all, and you move them. They're all going to move proportionally. It's good stuff. And it's so easy to do, and that's why I really like Studio One. So let's go up here, and let's look at why you would have a fade in. Okay, so these, and let me just solo them. This is more of a producing kind of thing, because mixing is an art, but learning the technique is a technique, and then you have the art on top of it, and that's what's great about having Studio One or Pro Tools and stuff like that. You learn the technology of it and the technique, but you always apply it artistically, and I think you know that, but I just want to say that. Okay, so what is this? Why would I have a fade in and then a fade out in the middle of a chorus with a guitar part? So let's hear it. Hear it again. Now, what I did here, if you come up here, and here's the actual vocals. That time is on our hands. So I wanted to add something at that part of the chorus. So if you come in here and you hear the whole chorus, and this is just soloing the vocals. To Wonderland. Do you know that time is on our hands? I wanted that da, 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 because this sounds cool. But what I really did initially, and this is a cool little trick that I think is cool. What I initially did was I added this chorus, this orange guy here. I added that guy first. So what it does, let's just hear that by itself. And again, I'm getting to the point of the fade in of an event and why you would do it. So this is just going to hear the strings. Okay, I just wanted to make that louder. Okay, now what happened there? Well, you can hear the guitar, right? So I'm going to take the guitar out. The guitar is playing the exact same thing as the keyboard, as the strings. So this is just the strings. again, a little louder. Okay, so I had cut this part here so I could make it louder, and that's what I, use. I mentioned before, this little square in the middle. So if you want to take a section of a performance and you want to increase the volume of only that section, and look at my volume management tutorial, you can do that, and that's why this came in louder. I just wanted you to know that. Okay, so what's going on here? So let's just listen to the keyboard and the vocal, and I'll explain why I added the guitar.
Do you know the way to Wonderland? Do you know that time is on our hands?
Okay. In the whole mix, it was getting kind of lost a little bit, and I also wanted to, and I could have just raised the volume, but I also wanted to add a little bite to it. Bite. So I'll do this. I'll take a keyboard part, and I'll record kind of a hard guitar line, melody line that has a little distortion on it. And what it does is, to the listener, they'll never hear this guitar. They'll more hear the strings, and you just mix it in that way. But now listen to it, and you'll hear this guitar come in, and it adds that bite to it, so it grabs the attention of the listener even more. Plus, it adds a little bite to it.
Do you know the way to Wonderland? Do you know that time is on our hands?
So I don't know if you heard that, but if I take the keyboard out.
Do you know the way to Wonderland? Do you know that time is on our hands?
That was just a guitar. So why the fade in? Because if I don't have the fade in, it's going. I'll just highlight these. It's going to have a really hard hit coming in. Let's see if we can hear that. So it's going to be like, I want to draw attention to the part, but I don't want to draw attention away from the vocal. So I want it to kind of, the keyboard will start right away. Da-na-na. But the guitar, since it's biting, will come in a little bit behind it so that you don't notice it, but it does the effect of it. So this is it with the guitar. I'm just going to take the vocals out so we can just hear that. And this is a technique to use fade in. And it also has a little part in the beginning of it that I don't want. I want it to come in right when this comes in, because I want it to have that first part of it. I only want to hear the da-na-na. So I fade this in to eliminate that first note. But I wanted that first note because, see, it's still there. It's still a performance that is being heard in the mix. But if I cut it here, then it will just sound like come in on da-da-da. But having that little beginning part, it just slides it in. So that first note is not as dramatic, but it's there. Now, if you take it all out and you hear it in the full mix, the listener is not going to hear that, but they would hear it if it was coming in too hard.
Do you know the way to Wonderland? Do you know that time is on our hands? Let me show you.
And it's subtle, but it's there, and it's very cool. So that's why, one example why I would do a fade in. And there's 10,000. Now I don't do a fade in here with this guitar hit because I actually want that hard hit in the beginning. So I won't fade that in. A couple other reasons why you would do it. Say here in this guitar part, these two guitar parts, there was a little bit of noise in the front of this that I don't want, but I don't want to replay it. So I could just fade it in, look, just a tad, just a little bit. And that just smooths it out a little bit. So that's another technique, just to, if you have something in that has maybe a little noise, a little bit too much noise, and you can't trim it enough, or you want that and you just want to just fade it in a tiny bit, just play with it. And these are all kinds of things you can do to tailor and sculpture your mix. It's good stuff. So hopefully that helps out in terms of trimming, in terms of fading in, fading out, grouping them together, and how you highlight them. And I hope this is helpful for you. If you like this and this was helpful, and you want to hear more stuff and learn more stuff with all the stuff that I still will have coming out and the rest of the stuff on my channel, Radical Cathedral, which is my reality show and the stuff like that, please subscribe to the channel because there's a lot of stuff here that's, music and other things, and you'll get all the new stuff coming out. Plus, it helps me out, and I really, really appreciate it. And then also, if you like it, please like it. And to me, the most important thing really is to share it, because sharing with other people, other bandmates or musicians or songwriters, and you're like, wow, this is something pretty cool. I want you to check this out. Okay, so no, please subscribe, please like, please definitely share, and put your comments in if there's some things, some things that I missed, or you want to say, hey, folks, I did this and this and this and stuff like that. Let's share. We're a community of artists and songwriters and producers, mixers, and all that stuff. So hopefully it was good. And I just wish you have a happy, great day. Take care. Bye.